Hey y'all, it's the Evolutionary Change Coach with part two of episode 5. I don't remember if I left off on boundaries or not, but I'm going to start off with that. But for now, so basically, this episode is, like I said, about evaluating your friendships, your family members, even your actual, partnerships, your actual relationships, your marriages, and things like that, romantic wise as well. Because a lot of times we don't realize just how much the people that we are around or that we come into contact with or that we know aren't don't always have the best intentions for us, and sometimes they may not actually be the the things that are blocking or causing blockages to you or to your life, but they can cause you to be in a to actually they can cause you to have sometimes a chaotic mindset or a broken mindset or a not so or closed minded or just super judgmental, just anything, right? And sometimes it's not, like I said, it's not actually the people, sometimes it's you yourself. But what happens is a lot of us don't take the extra, like, how back in elementary school and stuff like that, we had counselors in school. You had school counselors, and at one point it was not mandatory for you to speak to your guidance counselors in school, but it was definitely offered and definitely pushed a little bit. Whereas now, mental health awareness is everywhere and it is extremely important. It's the same. So that actually goes hand in hand, where you have to actually be mindful of, like I said, if you've been watching my videos, you got to be mindful of what you absorb. You don't necessarily have to be or actually believe in a lot of the things that other people do, because their opinion is their opinion, yours is yours. You have your standards, you have your morals, you have, how you live your life or what you live your life by, and vice versa. It does not mean that you have to not be friends with that person or, not be around those family members. But if they kind of make you feel uncomfortable, that is one of the most biggest signs that we actually don't pay attention to and that we actually overlook. Because a lot of times it's because of either the time you have in with them, or they could, like I said, they could be your actual family. So that means not only do you have your whole life, that is hard to put distance in those connections, or actually put boundaries in place, or just honestly um leave them alone altogether. We see a lot where people legit just cut their entire families off, and they go and they live a very peaceful, happy life. And sometimes that might be what you need to do. Now, I'm not going to recommend that for everybody, because that's not for everybody. But if you know, you know. Majority of the time, we a lot of times we already know what we need to cut out of our lives, who we need to, not be around, or not really be in a relationship with, things like that. And that's not to say that you're not going to have bad times or, the friendship or or that marriage or partnership, however you see it, isn't going to have bad times or times where you're not going to be on the same page, because that's normal. I'm talking about specifically people that you already kind of knew at a certain standpoint that that person or that these people either did not like you or have a disdain for you, or they may not have a certain disdain, but they don't either, or they're judging you by your choices or how you live your life, the decisions you're making. If they are not actually, they don't actually put you in harm's way and they're actually dangerous and, things like that, then those are things that you actually have to, you wind up building a tough skin anyway, or thick skin, rather, what they rather say. And you become numb to a lot of things, whereas like a lot of times you don't realize that you're either coming in contact with the same people over and over again until sometimes a word can just trigger you, or you can be on a certain wavelength, or you will get around different people or things like that, and they'll bring that up to your attention, or they might say, hold on, or you in your own mind will be like, well, wait a minute, they don't do this, or they're not saying that, or I don't feel, uncomfortable or uneasy, or, I don't feel like I should remember this. I don't feel like, and then sometimes that's not necessarily the whole reason, but something that that person may have said or did that they didn't even know was a trigger to you, that triggered an experience for you, or a trauma response for you, or anxiety response for you. And it's like, they say it's important to express those things, but if you don't know what it is or what the word is, what the situation is, you're not going to express it, you're not going to know how to express it, you're not even going to really understand the feelings that you're even having, because I didn't either. A lot of times I would just, I had a lot of anxiety, mannerisms that I actually happen to exhibit, that you don't even realize is that anxiety mannerism, or things that you just do on a regular because you've done it for so long. You've done it your whole life. It's second nature to you. You don't think that there's nothing wrong with it, which is, there's nothing wrong with it when you kind of know what it is and you can address it, or you maybe could just like, oh, maybe I need to. But then that's also telling, but it's like there's a thin line though, because it's where you don't necessarily, where it's like you're hiding who you are, but you're not, because you're learning new ways, or to just not be in places or around situations that give you those responses, so you won't have to respond to them at all. But that also can cause you to be more introverted and more, and you're less likely to want to go out and make friends or do any of those things, because you don't want to continue to feel those same feelings. And I struggle with a lot of that, where I didn't even used to like, when the friends that I did hang out with, I didn't even like them bringing in new people. Like, how people make, they go out, you go out, you make new friends over here, in a different neighborhood, whatever the situation is. And then you want to introduce them to your best friend and things like that. And that's not a bad thing, because in normal circumstances you would want to, and you would think that, oh yeah, everybody's gonna get along and da-da-da. But in all actuality, that doesn't actually, sometimes that does work out, but a lot of times it don't work out because everybody has different personalities, different things they're into, different things they're not into. Then you have people that have different levels of trauma, different levels of, different experiences for why, or different reasons for why they don't want to hang around this person, or why they don't want to do this, or why they don't want to do that. Because then you'll actually have people, like I said, you might meet people that don't have nothing, that's nothing like the people that you are hanging around, or your family members and things like that, that don't exhibit none of those behaviors that they got. And you're gonna want to, oh well, yeah, this is my new friend. That friend is not gonna want to be around those people because they're gonna already be, they're gonna either already look for things that, or look for the inconsistencies, or they're gonna already know what they are. You don't even have to be a person that vents about your friends or your relationship, anything like that. But then you have, and it's like, it's not, you shouldn't not vent about your friends or your other circumstances to each other, because that's how you are releasing. That is how you are going, you're going through something, you want to talk about it, and you need to get it out, and you're going to call the person that you feel safe with speaking to those things about. The hard part is actually deciphering whether they have the good intentions, because a lot of times, like I said in the last video, you have people that pretend, and sometimes they're not pretending. A lot of times you're gonna walk into something because you see the potential, you see where the friendship can go, or things like that, or if certain things, right, if you worked on certain things with each other, or just on a separate individual, however, that the relationship can really be, the friendship relationship can actually grow and actually really be a beautiful one. Now, that's where it becomes hard, because like I said, if you grew up around a bunch of narcissistic people, it's going to be hard for you to break away or not keep running into narcissistic people. Or if you kind of grew up around parents or family members that had a lot of low self-esteem and things like that, that carries on. Or that have, I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna say they complain a lot, but I feel like we are gonna know what I mean by complain a lot. Whereas the people that, there are people out here that don't really talk about anything good going on in their life, or just in general, right? And all they talk about is negativity, or just a negative whatever, right? Everything is always going bad and all that stuff. And it's not to say that that person is not experiencing those things, because they indeed are. However, it's the fact that sometimes, like I said, we don't always take accountability for the reasons, or why, or the parts that we play for why in those experiences, or in those circumstances, for why that happens, or why some of these things happen. Granted, sometimes things just genuinely happen out of nowhere. Life is unexpected. Actually, life is really unpredictable when you think about it. But on a different level, sometimes on a different level it's not. But that's besides the point. I'm gonna finish my orange cards, and then we're gonna go into pink, and then I got yellow. So, boundaries. When you're on the road to change and making changes, boundaries are extremely important. Establishing healthy, firm boundaries, and standing on them and enforcing them. Make a list of things you need boundaries on, so we can help guide you on sticking to them. This can be simply just saying no to helping, giving, and even giving advice. This can be not being around people that cause you to feel uneasy, unsafe, or out of place. That means you don't need to be there. And it is nothing wrong if you feel like you don't, just because that group of friends or those family members or your family don't like you or want you included, that does not mean that there aren't people out here that is going to include you, that want you included the way you are. The invite or the uninvite or the last minute invite, you wasn't really supposed to be there to begin with. Or a lot of times people just invite you to stuff just to be funny or just to be messy. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't never participate in a situation like that, because I actually did. Now, I did feel weird about it afterwards, because it brought on more than we thought it was going to lead to. Boundaries. Once you set your boundaries, you don't owe anybody an explanation on those boundaries. You know why you set the boundaries, and 9 times out of 10, the people that you set in the boundaries with, they know why you set in the boundaries too. Now, like I said in the other video, I spoke about, that's not saying that you can't have a conversation with people first on how you feel, what you want, what changes you want made, and what needs you want or that isn't being met on your end. Because there's nothing wrong with that. Any relationships of any kind are, now granted, sometimes it's not going to be always equal put out, but if all you're doing is giving, and not receiving at any, then that's not a situation you need to be in. That's a con that you're going to need to put on your pros and cons list when you make this list of people that you need, to make the list of people that you need to evaluate from. That's one task. Making a list of friends, family members, and things hobbies you need to cut out, because that is a thing as well. Because sometimes we have different hobbies or different interests and things that tie us to different people. And if you let go of some of those hobbies or that hobby, the people usually fall off with it, unless you actually have that kind of real relationship with that person outside of those hobbies. Saying no is a complete sentence. That is something that I actually struggled with. That was a boundary that I needed to work on really, really bad. I really used to feel so bad, because like I said, I love helping people. I hate seeing people in pain, struggling, suffering, anything like that. And I hated saying no when people were in need, because I've been in those situations. I've been in the shoes where I needed things and stuff like that. And so to understand it and not want the same for somebody else it's not a selfless thing, and that don't even make you naive as a person, because it's common sense to want to, be nice to people or want to help someone else out that is going through something or whatever. But the problem lies where there are people that take advantage and they know that they're taking advantage, and they know that they can take advantage strictly off the relationship you have or the title, as well as the time that you have in with that person or people. So saying no is a complete sentence. You don't need to have an explanation after. You just say no. Especially when you already don't have it to give and you're still giving. That is taken. I actually wrote a post about that. You cannot give from an empty cup. A lot of times we helpers and givers and stuff, we give until we completely are burned out. And the people that, and then even after we are burnt out and while we are burnt out, people still want to take. And because we still want to give, we're still going to try to give. And we don't even be having nothing left to give. And when I say nothing left, I mean there's no energy left. There's nothing left. And then when we want to go and, actually tend to the things that we have to tend to in our own lives, we don't even have energy for that. You can't give from an empty cup. You cannot give from an empty vessel. You cannot. You cannot give off of no, if you ain't got no fumes, you can't give no fumes to nobody else. So that is why it's important for us to work on our stuff first and actually weigh out our situations and be like, yeah, no, I can't. I don't got it. Or just no. Stand firm, as they say. Stand on business. Yes, that is okay. Saying no is okay. It is going to be hard the first, few times. You're going to feel guilty about it. You're going to feel bad about it. But it's nothing worse than knowing you want to say no. You should say no, and then you already have multiple questions in your head about why they asking you and not XYZ, this and that person, or why the hell, you know what I'm saying, if they got this person over there, why the hell they asking me, type of. And then you do it knowing you didn't want to do it. You already know they got other folks that can help them out. And you even put yourself in the equation, because if you're anybody like me that don't ask for shit anyways, you already like, well, if it was me, they ain't even gonna do it. And if they do it, they gonna take they time doing it. They gonna drag their feet to do it, or they gonna give me the fucking runaround when it's time. When it is me. And you still do, and you do it. And then immediately after you do it, you regret it because you know you didn't want to do it to begin with. You know you didn't want to do it to begin with. So that is what I mean by you gotta stand firm on those boundaries. When you make the decision to even cut ties with these people, that means when I say, listen, like I said, I'm a very forgiving person. Right? And a lot of times I will give you a chance after a chance after a chance after a chance. But when I get done, I'm done. Ain't no coming back. Ain't no spinning the block. Ain't no none of that. Ain't no none of that. And that's friends too. Now, kids, I never turn my back on kids. Never. I like to, you know what I'm saying, still hope and make sure that the kids know that I'm always going to be here. I always got their back regardless. But as far as parents go, adults go, no. Absolutely not. And then a lot of times I'm not, like I said, I ain't gonna turn my back on the kids, but you gotta be a certain age when you start reaching out to me, because I wouldn't even encourage the children to, go to undermine their parents or, none of that. So I wouldn't even do that unless it's a really like a toxic situation, you know what it is, you already, then that's different. But if it's not nothing like that, I would never. So, so yes, stand firm, okay? Stand on business. And yes, it is okay. Helpers, givers, us genuine, kind hearted people, it is okay for us to say no. It is okay for us to say no. No, you can't come over here. No, you can't do none of no. No, I can't take you here. No, I can't give you no money. No, just no. No. Don't let anyone disrespect your boundaries that you set for yourself. The boundaries you're setting up for yourself and you put in that place, don't let nobody disrespect them. It will be hard at first, depending on who you have to set them with. You will have feelings of regret and guilt at times of setting these boundaries. You will find yourself people who will respect your boundaries. You're going to find people that is going to respect your boundaries. You're going to find them. Don't let nobody that you already know has been causing you hurt and pain to come back. Once you cut the tie, cut the cord, as they say, don't let them come back. Once you close the door, they can't come back. Especially if they left your ass for somebody else. Don't let them come back to you. That's rebound, and you're not a rebound, man or woman. You're not. So don't let that happen. You don't have to tolerate that. You do not have to tolerate that. There are women and men out here that is going to love you for you and give you everything that you deserve. And then some. Positive relationships. How you form these interactions matter. You can also compare and make these relationships happen by comparing some hobbies and life experiences. Yes, you're going to always form certain relationships through trauma, but you have to actively you have to actively both want to change and heal through the trauma. When forming new relationships, have an open mind, and you gotta be careful not to project onto other people. That is why it's important. You know what? People actually never tell you friend breakups are actually a lot more hurtful and a lot more damaging, and you actually will need a lot more healing and a lot more time than you actually think, because you're going to need time to process. You're going to need time to get over the hurt, the anger, the guilt, the everything, because that is why it's important when you get out of any relationship, even a work relationship, when you leave a job, when you quit or you get fired, that's a down period where you should actually, you know what I'm saying, heal a little bit. Make sure, when you get your next job or you get into your next situation, that you're going in it with a full open mind and an open heart. So you're not projecting your last or your past or your trauma and all that onto another person. Yes, keep your guards up. Yes, be aware. Yes, you gotta, but do that. Like, take your time. It's not a rush. It is not a rush. Not everybody is out to hurt and harm you. There will be people who love, support, and care for you. There are people who will support and care for you and care about you and want to see you prosper and do good and actually will cheer you along and give you more advice, give you guidance, keep you inspired and motivated and keep empowering you and uplifting you. I actually do a lot of social media cleansing. I really don't do toxic and like mean girl, all that stuff. No, that's not me. So I actually remove a lot of that off of my social media, and it changes your algorithm when you do that, and your content intake and what you're absorbing. Because when you change that, and if you're posting uplifting and positive and empowering things, it's only gonna come back. You get what you give out. So if you're giving out nothing but negative energy, or oh, why can't this happen, or why is this always happening, or it's always one thing after another, you're not, yes, you can actually prosper that way, but it's gonna take you a lot longer, because you actually have to be thankful for the present, for the now. Sometimes when you are ripped of everything, it's because you have to go back to the drawing board and remember where you started from. Remember where you started from. A lot of times, folks don't do that. They get too big-headed, ego, all that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because you should have high and positive and high self-esteem. You should have that, but it does not have to go to the point of you looking down on other people or you doing any of that. Just because you want to just because you want to remove yourself from toxic people or toxic situations, that does not mean that you judge those people, that you judge them for that. You just don't want to partake in any of that and don't want to be around it. Because at some point, as you grow up and you don't want to be around it anyway, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. You're not even gonna want to be in the same spaces anymore, because you're not into that anymore. The importance of positive relationships will have an amazing impact on your growth and your confidence. This is relationships of all kinds: work related, family, friends, and romantically. Having people who give you honest and truthful feedback. You have so many people who are stuck in a victim mentality. And I'm not saying they're not a victim. I'm not talking about the people that are actually victims and go out and really, and I'm not talking about the people that are victims. I'm talking about people who are victim, but don't know. They know every step that they have to take. They know what they need to do, but don't want to do the work to do it. But they don't want to do the work to do it because they see the benefit of being a victim and where it gets them. It's not, like I said, because you have a lot of people that are victims of things that don't speak on it. You won't know about it because they don't want you to know about it, or just because they're not the type of people that want attention. That's not what it is. You got a lot of people that are attention seekers for the wrong reasons, and you have people that are attention seeking off of being a victim. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because like I said, if you were a victim of abuse of any kind, you're a victim, and your story should be heard because it deserves to be heard, and you deserve to be heard because now I am one of them people. I don't speak on a lot of the things that happen to me. I really don't. A lot of people never find out what I actually have went through or actually go through until I could be in a conversation and they're, and we're just conversating and I'm giving or someone's asking for advice and I can give you advice on it because I've experienced it, not because I pull it out the air, or because I ain't never been through it before. I'm just not somebody that likes to even be seen as a victim, or I'm not the type of person that I don't really like sympathy from people. I know that is something that I need to work on as well, because yes, I've been through things and I deserve to have sympathy and things like that, but I don't want it like, with hella attention and all that stuff. I'm not into all that. And I'm not saying that if a person is, that they shouldn't be seen or given the attention that they desire. However, if you faking what you got going on or whatever, yeah, yes, I quit my job. Yes, I don't always, have a lot of money all the time. No, I don't. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I am. I have started small businesses. Yes, I get consistent, and yes, sometimes I fall back and sometimes it's not where it need to be. I have children that I take care of. Um I have support from family, but you know what I mean? So it is what it is. And then especially now I set boundaries with people that that actually put my children in traumatic experiences or situations or made them feel uncomfortable. I'm no, I'm not letting my children be around anybody that makes them feel uncomfortable, that speak down to them, talk down to them, put their hands on them, anything. That's not happening. I don't even beat my kids for it. Like, I might pop them. You know what I'm saying? I do yell, I'm a yeller, but I'm actually working on that. I've worked a lot on that as well because I've actually I've learned and I'm still learning to regain patience with that. Because just like I was a child once, I always put myself in that predicament or at that time where I was their age. And the support I needed, I didn't get. I'm not saying that my mom and dad weren't good parents, because they were, but there were certain things that I needed that I didn't get, that I didn't have. And I'm giving that to my children, which actually boosts and boosts my relationship with my children and my bond with my children. Do I sometimes want a break from my kids? Hell yeah. But for the most part, my kids are literally my best friends. Okay? So when I'm in, that is what I do. When I go out, most times I'm with my kids. Even if I'm not, I'm usually by myself. Or if I'm not by myself, I'm actually going out with my boyfriend. And we don't even do that much because that's besides the point, right? But what I'm saying is, I'm not really out there like that. Do I go out? Yes. You know, have I hung out with friends? Absolutely. Am I in a space where I actually want to, get into other rooms and other experiences and actually continue to come out of my comfort zone? Absolutely. To meet new people, make new actual real lasting friendships? Absolutely. Right now I ain't got no friends, so somebody told you that, I don't know. I ain't, I don't, mm-mm, no. And it's not no disrespect to nobody. It's a part of my learning journey, my growing journey. It don't have nothing to do with nobody else but me. I'm not deliberately doing anything. I'm not intentionally doing anything. I'm not none of that. I have always been somebody that's been focused, and I actually mind my business. I drink water and I mind my business, okay? You know what I'm saying?